our entire life is a journey of self-discovery. What am I capable of? Can I push myself a little bit more? Can I do this as well? Can I do that as well?
Its own wins and losses. If you find comfort in being employed versus being an entrepreneur, great for you.
For a true entrepreneur, you do need to have blinders on and you need to build.
While women are asked to be nice, if shit ever hits the roof, these are warriors who don't even recognize that they are battling it out.
I can tell you that there's nobody more motivated than a mom who wants to get her work done and go back home to the baby or make sure that the baby's well looked after.
Yes. It is when you feel most fearful that you have to jump.
Be a safe spot. Women are supposed to be safe. Please be yourself.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another inspiring episode of Stree At The Table. Today, we are thrilled to be joined by someone who has paved the way for countless women entrepreneurs in India, Radhika Ghai. As the co-founder of ShopClues, Radhika became the first Indian woman to co-found a unicorn, revolutionizing the e-commerce space in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. But she didn't stop there. She's now the driving force behind kindlife, a platform that's redefining wellness and sustainability along with conscious living in India. Radhika's journey is one of courage, resilience, and breaking barriers, from navigating a male-dominated tech space to building businesses that create real impact. Today, we will dive into her incredible career journey, the lessons she's learned as a leader, and her vision for empowering women and promoting sustainable living. So get comfortable and get ready for an honest, inspiring conversation with the trailblazing Radhika Ghai. Hello, Radhika. We are so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us at Stree At The Table.
I'm so excited to be here, Naghma. It took us a while to get this going, but now that it is here, very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
No. But while we waited, there was a lot of homework going on about who you are, what you've been doing, and I can't wait to start this conversation. You co-founded ShopClues in 2011. In 10 years, you founded your own company, kindlife. Alongside that, you are also known for being, the only female co-founder who co-founded a unicorn. You are Forbes India W Power Trailblazers list. You are on, Economic Times Women Ahead Award. You've won that one, Most Influential Women in Technology and E-commerce. And after speaking to you some time ago, I feel this is just you getting started. You've just kind of warmed up. So I want to start with the, where it all began. Like, let's get a little context of how you grew up, how you were like, and how all of this comes together in the journey that you've been traversing.
So, thank you so much. That was a very kind introduction for sure. I feel like I kind of agree with you. I feel that there have been many pauses and restarts in my life. And in many ways, that's what defines me. And, when I take a step back and think about what is it about me that keeps me going, I feel that my childhood has a very large part to play in that. My father was in the army. He was in the infantry. That means that every year and a half, we would pack up and move. A new place, new friends, new school, new teachers, new start. And in many ways, that defined the way you would look at yourself. And, we discussed this earlier as well. I'm the mother of 2 boys as well. And one piece of advice that I give them all the time is that life gives you multiple chances. जब तुम्हें लगता है ना तुमने completely screw up कर दिया है, and you cannot f things up. Sorry, you can blur that out any more than you have. Life will come back and give you another chance. You just have to grab it. And that's what I learned growing up as an army brat, and that's what's brought me so far.
And while you were let's then get down to the first real question that I want to ask you is, there's been many things that you've done. There's a diverse set of things you've incubated. You were also employed at one point. You moved into your entrepreneurial journey. And of course, this doesn't organically happen. There's some amount of, but did you ever imagine that this is the kind of success that you will get when the chips were really down?
No, I'm an accidental entrepreneur, very, very, very honestly. I don't think I grew up thinking that I am going to be an entrepreneur, I will start companies, etc. What I did think growing up was that whatever I do, I will excel in. And again, let me rephrase that. Excel in means that that's the output. Hmm. The input was self belief, and the input was that I will be able to do it. Hmm. It was more about the vision. It was more about, did I know what I'm capable of? Yes. Or what is it that I can do? I already mentioned I grew up in the armies. That also means that my um, set of possible things was very limited. My mom grew up in the army. My father was in the police. My parents grew up in the services. Yeah. Then my father was in the army, and that's the life we knew.
That's a certain kind of life.
That is it. It was for those of you who are listening, and if you have the whole military background and the civil background, there was a very diverse difference between them. And I always felt that, I'm going to do something to do with the army, and I'm going to work really hard, and I'm going to be able to do it. I think what worked for me was as I saw other role models around me. And I met a friend's older sister who was in advertising. And I remember talking to her about, what do you do? And suddenly it was super interesting. I wanted to do it. So I went and interned with the Inters in Delhi. And when I wanted to do it, I wanted to do it with the best. So I interviewed at a bunch of places. Linters was number one at that time, and got the summer internship and went and worked with them. Went to the US to get my MBA, very similar thought process. Went there thinking that I wanted to do marketing, advertising, because that's the world I'd left behind to go do it. But once I got there, I learned that there's something called consulting, there's something called investment banking, and the creme de la creme goes there. And I went back and looked at my business school roster to see if any of the other Indians had been able to crack into investment banking. And within investment banking, it was Goldman Sachs that was number one. And again, the thought process was, let's try it. I mean, what's the harm? What's the worst that can happen?
No, that's a beautiful theory. But, that time was also different. Today, the world is teeming with possibilities. We also discussed that our kids have so many. I mean, there's a problem of plenty right now. And at that time, especially because you came from a certain kind of life and you were exploring the life outside of the armed forces or the uniform, talk to me about your moments of self-doubt, really. What did that happen? And if that did, then how does one even navigate it?
I think all the time. I call it under the dining table moments, when you want to get under the dining table and not come out of
it.
And hide.
Yeah.
And I think there have been multiple over my life. Multiple such moments. And I feel that the only way to take them on is to face it head on. There really is no other approach. And, my grandfather used to tell us a story about paratroopers. Whenever somebody would paradrop, within a paratrooper regiment, if there was an accident, a death, the first thing they would do is make the entire company go back in the plane and take a drop. क्योंकि डर नहीं बैठना चाहिए.
Okay.
And I heard this story so many times growing up.
Amazing.
That was my way of dealing with self-doubt. डर नहीं बैठना चाहिए.
Yeah.
And, is loosely translated into English. It is, do not let the fear set in. But really for me, it is डर नहीं बैठना चाहिए. That is like something that's imprinted here, that if you fall off, I did horse riding growing up, if you fall off a horse, get back on the horse right away.
Yes.
And I feel that has truly worked for me. Truly. Because I don't think I'm any different than many of us, I meet so many women in my day-to-day life, and amazing women. And we talk about imposter syndrome. We talk about that, do we really belong on the table?
Yes.
Are we doing the right thing? There's so many people who are smarter than us.
Yes.
But don't question yourself. And I think that is what has worked for me also, Naghma, because when I look at somebody else do it, I feel like I can do it too. At least I can try it.
Excellent. But you made such an important point, which is, and I've heard some others articulate it slightly differently, which is, it is when you feel most fearful that you have to jump.
Yes.
And so that it never comes. The confronting is like, or eat the frog. And there are many ways to do it, but to internalize it almost into a reflex action is such a beautiful theory to have in life. And if we take that forward, when you were employed, and employment has its own comforts, right? It has its own, that's why so many of us are employed. But what was that moment that basically, or was there a moment where you thought, no, I have to do it and I just have to get out?
I did say that I was an accidental entrepreneur. And the first gig that I did was Fashion Clues. It was a precursor of ShopClues, and where we were writing about fashion, and because that was my career in the US at that time. Very accidental, because I was pregnant with my second kid. And I had a tough pregnancy, and I wanted to take time off. And because there is no concept of taking time off and not doing anything. So it landed up being an accidental entrepreneur story. But I think that was it. We were in the Silicon Valley. There were startups left, right, and center. I did talk about the fact that if I see somebody else do it, I feel that at least worth a try. Why not? I don't think that anybody is God sent. I think opportunities are God sent. People are not. And so if somebody else can do it, I can do it too. But very honestly, my first one was a way for me to do something and spend more time with my children, which you will be surprised, or maybe you'll not be, is one of the biggest motivating factor for a lot of women entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And if it works, it works. Why not?
Yes, but a lot of people are then surprised. Women are very surprised that it is killing time even more than employment was.
Yes.
Yeah. It does offers flexibility, but yes, I mean, if you have to make it through, then the price is very clearly out there.
Very, very clearly. Because, an employment, I want to say, is black and white. But I think employment, when you are a type A, is also not black and white.
No, I don't think it's black and white, whatever type you are, because it has its own ecosystem, its own power structures.
Yes.
Its own wins and losses. And if you find comfort in being employed versus being an entrepreneur, great for you.
Yes.
But if you are the risk taker, and if you are the one who wants to,
cannot agree more. It cannot be a story where, I'm going to work so many hours and then I'm not going to work at all.
Yeah.
But I will say that I see that a lot more in this generation, and more power to them.
Yes.
Because definitely. But for me, a question about work-life balance does not exist. I think it's always about priorities. What am I doing at that point? I had young children at that point, and I thought that it would be a lot easier if I was not answerable to anyone but myself. And that was...
Were you surprised?
Famous last words. Completely.
Then how did you deal with it? As it dawned upon you that this is not really going to be as light touch as I imagined.
Yes. I don't think I ever expected to be light touch. I just expected to have more control on my own time.
Oh, yeah.
And really, truly famous last words there. But I think it also opened so many doors for me. And I'm also a believer that when my children see me happy, when I'm working, when I'm building, I'm happiest.
Yeah.
And when my children see me happy, I believe that they are happier and they prosper more.
A happy mother makes happy children.
And that is it.
Yes.
That is truly it. And our entire life is a journey of self-discovery. At least for me, that's what it's been. What am I capable of? Can I push myself a little bit more? Can I do this as well? Can I do that as well? And I really hope that if my children take one thing away from me, that's what it is. Our life is completely self-discovery. We're always capable of doing more, being more, meaning more, impacting more. Can we push ourselves a little bit more?
But children hear children learn what they see more than what is told to them. So I'm sure they're in good hands.
They're in good hands. They're in good hands. Knock on wood there.
Yes, but with all of these beliefs, you're audacious. You've set up businesses. When you, as a leader of your own businesses, sustainability has been a high priority for you. Good values, diversity has been high priority. How do you enforce or internalize that into structures? It's one thing believing oneself, but ensuring these values are trickling down, especially in kind life. Sustainability is kind of right out there. We can see it. How does one do it, and what should one expect when you're trying to make something like this happen in a very competitive world?
So I think what the biggest thing here is that as leaders, as founders, as CEOs, we set the path for the organization to follow. Right. I'll give you an example. When my older one was born and I was nursing, I would carry a breast pump to work. I used to work for Nordstrom at that time. And I was in the lift with Blake Nordstrom, who was the CEO of the organization. And he asked me, what is in the black bag?
He did?
He said, what is in the black bag? Because it was this ugly ass big bag, So I told him it's a breast pump because I'm a new mom and the baby's at daycare. And so he asked me, where do you nurse then? And I said, in the bathroom. Within 2 hours, HR was at my desk. They created a nursing room.
How beautiful. How beautiful.
And I feel that is how a leader should be.
Absolutely.
Within 2 hours. Somebody was in my room. They converted one of the smaller conference rooms and put in nice couches, made it comfortable. They put in a little fridge. It was perfect.
I'm almost getting emotional you saying this because it's the most sensitive kind of leadership.
Yes.
And the important thing is there was a man out there who understood and reacted immediately. So it's just beautiful.
Yes. Can you imagine? I mean, he's no more, but he was an amazing leader. And for me, because I felt it directly. I was a young analyst, straight out of business school. He didn't really have to talk to me, ask me what I was doing, but he did. And I feel that is the coin that I have to pay forward as well. Make it easier for women to come back to work. And we are very good about that at Kind Life. We have to be. We're led by women. If we don't understand it, who will?
Yes, who will?
So we are very, very comfortable with work sharing. We're very comfortable with women getting babies to work. We have a little area that we've carved out. When we were very, very young, we didn't have a small area carved out for babies, but enough people around the room. I'm comfortable with women being in meetings with their babies because I can tell you that there's nobody more motivated than a mom who wants to get her work done and go back home to the baby or make sure that the baby's well looked after.
Yes. Or a mom who knows that the place she's working in understands and is cooperating with
Always. So very, and we had another founder visit the office once, and she was a new mom herself, and she heard a baby crying, and she asked me, she said, I hear a baby, where is the baby? I said, oh, it's possibly lots of young moms around, and one of them has the baby with her. And she wanted to go see, and she said, I never thought that you could get a baby to work. And I'm hoping we had one more transition that happened.
Yes.
So this is just one of the many examples. I think Workshare is another one as well. I saw that at Microsoft many years ago where they would encourage Workshare. So you could come in 3 days a week and 2 days a week, somebody else would do the same role that you were doing. I don't know if it was the most efficient for the organization, but I do feel it was a great way to retain the best talent you have, because these are all temporary arrangements.
Yes.
Till you have young kids, etc., etc. And if it works, it works. And so at Kind Life, we are very flexible. And that is really, truly the only word. Very flexible with working arrangements, especially around super talented women who are either taking time off to be new moms or coming back from maternity. I think that is, and I do feel that the kind of talent that you see that doesn't come back because there's no flexibility is such a drain to the country's resources.
Absolutely.
So that is something that works really well for us. And apart from that, I think little things in sustainability, we measure our plastic output. And when I say plastic output, I don't just mean the kilos of plastic that we're putting out. We are a no plastic office. So you will see no plastic bottles at all. You will see glass bottles. You will see glasses there. You can use those. We try to be the change we want to see.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important part.
I think given what's been going on in the international press and in international politics, what you've just said makes it's very important to kind of stay a little bit more with this topic, because we've also had early murmurs, which I think very soon are going to become mainstream conversations about it's too costly, it's too inefficient, you retain substandard talent when you encourage so much flexibility. These are all the first murmurs have started, and you and I both know this is the way it works, and very soon we'll have loud voices. As someone who's executing it, there's of course a cost to something like this, but as a cost benefit, you've said one thing is you have a motivated staff, but how much of what you're hearing right now actually holds true when you're executing it?
So it breaks my heart to see DEI go the way it is going, internationally at least. Because the fact is that opportunities for a very large section of our citizens are limited.
Yes.
They are limited.
Yes.
Regardless of what we say, they are limited. Women still go home and cook. Women cook in the morning and come back. Women go to all parent-teacher conferences. Lots of men do as well, but it continues to be optional for them. And what I worry about is us going back into a very, for lack of a better word, regressive mindset.
Yeah.
There is a lot of talent that sits out the corporate life, the entrepreneurial life, because the opportunities are so far and few in between.
Yes.
Now, am I a big proponent of work from home? No. I do think you should be in the office. You should be present to be able to figure out, what are the new initiatives that the company is working on as well, et cetera, et cetera. Do I want you to not show your face in the office ever? No. But I also understand that there are times and moments when flexibility is needed. We cannot walk away. We cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Absolutely. And there's something you said just earlier, which is these are all temporary phases.
Yes.
And we have to wear them out. We cannot let the situation wear us out.
And I do worry that that's what we are doing. We are throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We cannot get rid of entire programs just because a few have taken advantage of them. There has been a lot of effort that's been put into making these programs sustainable. It's very important.
And workable.
Sustainable.
Yes.
And it has given us some of our best leaders.
Yes.
Do we really want to just stop doing all of that?
Yeah.
I'm not a proponent of that at all.
Yes. And if I move from there to the fact that you yourself are an aberration in the industry you are in, you are a female fundraiser, a female entrepreneur, a female co-founder. And I hate saying female associated with this, because you are this whether you were a man or a woman.
Yeah.
But it's important to also place this here, because even today, you are an aberration. And that breaks my heart because now, what are some of the challenges that came in at the early stages of your journey? And then I will really ask you, how is it? Is it any different now? Or are we just kind of talking a lot and doing the same old thing?
So I have been a founder in the limelight for 15 years now. And when I started and when we started our uphill climb at ShopClues, I think I was one of 3 or 4.
Yes.
And now I am probably one of 100, 200.
Still not
So
enough.
the number is improved.
Yes.
But
it's just 200.
this is against 10,000.
Yes. And I'm sure the men have also increased.
Exactly. So whatever the number has improved has been because entrepreneurship has come of age in the country. So of course, just by sheer ratio, women will do better.
Mhm.
But in terms of percentages, I don't know if we are where we need to be. And there are a lot of time the conversation revolves around, that, there are so many women funds now, and there's so many people who are trying to do something for women entrepreneurs. But your ambitions are expected to be small and limited.
And cute.
And lifestyle based.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
Yes.
So
Sell makeup.
my biggest, I do sell makeup and it's big business. But I will say that for a lot of women entrepreneurs, I feel don't curb your ambition. Don't make yourself small. Don't dim your light. Because we are as capable of building large billion-dollar businesses as the other person is or the other gender is.
Now, it's very important what you've said. But in that hot seat, when you are one of the 100 amongst 10,000, how does one even remember this? Because the naysayers are everywhere. And personally, being in too many rooms where, a smirk is enough to put you off or put you off guard or make you forget what you really wanted to get out of this room. There's a lot of self-negotiation. There's a lot of dimming of light that happens just as a reaction to the force of negativity around. And you've navigated that. How does one even do that?
डर नहीं बैठना चाहिए Naghma.
That's so beautiful.
It really is that. It is. I wish I had real pearls of wisdom, all of that. I think the minute I get put down, and it happens all the time.
Yes, I'm sure.
Either I'm too young, or I have very young children,
Do you
or
know
I'm
math?
too old. Do I know math?
Do you know
I know my MIS? Do I run HR for my company?
Yeah.
The classic
Yes.
questions that come my way. I don't let it. I won't say it does not impact me, but I will say that I don't let it put me down. It breaks my heart. I go home. I get under that dining table, but I get out of it and I show up every day.
Yeah. So rest and be back.
Be back. And I think it is important. And I think that's true for all entrepreneurs, whether you are a man or a woman, right? But I think even more important for women.
What is even unique to women, if there is anything unique to women?
Fewer opportunities, for sure. For sure. Regardless of what anybody might say. Fewer opportunities, for sure. But maybe double the effort to get the same amount of work done, not to undermine anybody else's effort. But the fact is that the way out of it is the same as it is for other entrepreneurs.
Face your fear.
Face your fears.
Yeah.
Show up every day. It truly is. If something doesn't work, try something else. But show up every day.
Keep showing up.
Keep showing up.
And keep chiseling at it.
Keep chiseling at it. Keep chiseling at it. And very specifically to entrepreneurs, I always say, because we've had, a couple of really bad years, just don't die. Just don't die. And I don't mean physically, I mean as a company, just don't die. Because your time will come. You've made that effort. It will happen. Be flexible. You have a vision of what you're building, but keep your eyes and ears open on what is happening around. If you need to evolve. If you need to pivot. Just don't die and keep at it. Because बाकियों की जो आवाजें होती हैं, the voices that you hear around you,
too noisy.
They can get in your head. And I have a very senior woman VC, and she told me that if I start listening to or reading everything that people talk about me, I will not be able to function. She said, I don't let it come around this area. And I think that's true for me as well. I just don't. And full credit to her. I think one of the smartest women in the industry. And that's it.
You bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap yourself. And it really is important.
If there could be a list of the different kinds of fears that women generally feel in these rooms, what would you put at number one?
Imposter syndrome, inadequacy, feeling of inadequacy
is one. Is it?
is one.
Not being called dumb or being called too
That is
pretty.
it. That is it.
That's
I think the thought is the same, right?
It's the
That
same. But
am I good enough to be on this table? Am I good enough to be sharing this yarn? Am I good enough to run this big company?
yes,
Because so we get told that we're not good enough, I think 200 times more than other people do.
I have been speaking to this very brilliant, way more brilliant than most people I know, person who started a new business. And at least once a week, when we are chatting, she asked me, why do they think they want to work with me?
Yeah.
Do they want to work with me because of X, Y, and Z? And never have I gotten the question, like, do you think they realize how smart am I or something? So there is an absolute certainty that they must want to work with me because of something else, but not because of how good I am.
Yes. I cannot. I mean, I've been in the industry for such a long time, and I still face it every time.
Yes.
I get up in the day, I stretch, I open myself. I'm like, okay, go for it, Radhika. It's okay. They cannot bring you down. But it is a fact. It is that feeling of inadequacy, that feeling of I also feel it's a bit of the minority report syndrome as well. That that you are in a room full of 100 people, there'll be 2 of you, there'll be 3 of you. And while that's great for recall later that you were one of the 3 women in the room, you've already done so much to be present in that room. And initially, I would be too intimidated to speak up in that room. But today, I believe that if I don't speak up in that room, then I have wasted my seat on that platform.
Absolutely.
It is up to me to speak up. It is up to the other women who are with me to speak up and make sure their voices are heard.
Yeah.
It's taken a lot to get to that table. If we are standing on the shoulders of giants, and we truly are, and even till the 80s in a country like the US as well, women were not able to get business loans without having a male co-signer.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about 100 years ago or anything like that. I'm talking 40 years ago.
In our lifetime.
In our lifetime. So we are not that far from women having fought for basic human rights. And unfortunately, and I said in a country like the US, but unfortunately, they are back to a lot of regressive theories, abortion rights, feel strongly about that, but different conversation.
Right. But how do you navigate moments of exhaustion? Do you feel them?
I feel them a lot more now. And I feel, I think I've always felt them, but when you're high on adrenaline, you just run. But I am very, very, very focused on preserving my energy. So when I told you that I keep a bubble around my head to keep the negative aura away, I feel that's what I do with energy as well. I don't want to be around people who are bringing negative energy within my force of field. Field of force. Whatever's the right phrase there. But so I'm very careful about what are the voices I'm listening to? What are the words I'm reading? What are the conversations I'm having? And I feel that that is one way of keeping exhaustion at bay. But when exhaustion is there, I'm also equally careful about giving time to myself. And maybe that's just something that comes with age to a lot of us. where we feel that, okay, we deserve it now. Because I know in my 30s, in my early 40s, I was not that person.
Yeah.
I had the weight of the world on my shoulders.
And you thought only you can solve it.
Only I could solve it.
Yes.
Only I could solve it. And I believe that I really wish that women listened to women who walked the path before them.
Yeah.
Lots of people can do it. The only thing you can do, that only you can do, is preserve your energy and look after yourself.
Yes. What you're also pointing towards is that over time, we have to, if we haven't already, learn to love ourselves enough to put ourselves right there on list of priorities. Because that's what we've, for many, many years not done, right?
Yes.
Why do you not have time for yourself?
Yes.
Why is everything else important except your own sleep, your own rest, your own healing?
Yeah.
And by the time we learn that it's important, menopause has struck and there's a whole new world of possibilities.
So Naghma, I feel even the things that you mentioned are basic, right?
Absolutely.
Basic needs, right? Sleep, rest, healing. I am also at a point where I feel that just entertainment, just time to myself. And I will see that. I hear that from people. Oh, she said she's not going to be able to do our event, or she's not going to be able to do this. But look at her. She just posted a picture in Goa. Yes. I
More
did get
power
it.
to you.
I got it from someone who said that, you said you'll not be able to come, but you are on a vacation. Yes. It is my vacation. It is my time. And I do feel that I am unapologetic about it. And I just wish I had become unapologetic about it 10 years earlier.
May this virus spread.
It really, please be unapologetic. Take your time, take downtime, be kind to yourself. I think most important. And we say that at Kind Life, we say be kind is the new sexy. And it truly is. But when you are thinking about kindness, don't just think about kindness towards the world. Being kind to yourself is so important as well.
Yes.
And I think so much more for women.
The more I hear you, the more even your career and your the choices at work start to make some sense. Because even when ShopClues started, it was targeted to top, tier 2, tier 3 markets, not to urban areas.
Yes.
I think somewhere, I'm presuming, there is a sensitivity to those who would really want to be and do and access some things that are not really targets like 10, 15 years ago. Today, again, that's the place to be.
Yes.
But how was it at that time? How did you land with that idea?
Oh my God, I have to say that it was a perfect storm for us. We had the perfect founding team. Sandeep, who was the CEO at that point, was an internet equity research analyst. Also my husband at that point. And I feel that I learned entrepreneurship from him completely, credit where it's due. He was one of those, and he is one of those who stands in front of the mirror and practices being an entrepreneur. And
I need to learn from these things.
I'm telling you, I had no concept of that. But I did tell you, my biggest strength is I see someone else do it, and I believe that it is possible. हम भी कर सकते हैं.
Yes.
And the Sanjay, he was the global product head at eBay. I had my retail background, and we had a couple more people who had joined us as well. And we wanted to do something in India, and we had a pretty good idea then. But we'd all been out of the country for a very long time. We were in the US. We'd all moved out in our early 20s to go to our masters, etc., and had continued to work there. And a little bit of, I would say, FOMO was happening, that India में इतना कुछ हो रहा है, but we are not there. And every time we'd come back on vacation, we'd be like, okay, this is the place we need to be. It is. And I truly feel, even for people who are outside India now, India is the place to be.
India is the place to be. Yeah.
India is the place to be. We moved back to India thinking that we wanted to do something in fashion, but that changed fairly quickly, because the biggest retail opportunity that we had was in organizing our unorganized retail. Everybody in India shops from the little mom
Kirana
and pop
store, yeah.
stores, kirana stores, Mangal Bazaar, Shani Bazaar, all of those bazaars. And our goal at ShopClues was to organize the fragmented feel of the retail and cater to the same audience who was buying offline, but through an online model. And I believe that we set the foundation for e-commerce the way it is in India. We brought about 7.5 million micro, small, medium traders, enterprises, retailers online.
Incredible.
And I'm extremely proud of that. There are a couple of stories from that era where there were women who started selling on the platform and they became so successful. Their husbands quit their jobs and joined them. Their brother-in-laws quit their job and joined them. Their mother-in-laws joined them. And every time we would have these seller summits and I would hear these stories. And I thought, just for that one family, it was worth it. So very, very, very encouraging. And of course, there were a bunch of ups and downs there. But it was the most fulfilling thing to do is to build. And, I think mothers feel that as well.
Yeah.
It is seeing...
Build and watch it grow.
Build and watch it grow. I don't know if we build our children, but, just we contribute to the way they take shape. And I think organizations are very similar.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about you. It's a team. It's a village that comes into place to be able to build something out. And when you felt that high, I think it's impossible to walk away and not do it again.
Absolutely. So what are the lessons you learned there that you used well in kindlife?
Many lessons. The most important one being, do not make the same mistake twice. Because I will make mistakes and mistakes will be made. It is just that I have a list of things that I will not do again. Whether it is with investors, whether it is with the financial unit economics aspect, whether it is with the kind of categories we are playing in, etc. I'm a much wiser person now. I think at that time I was higher on energy and gaining wisdom. Now I'm much, much wiser, still as energetic. So I'm a better entrepreneur for sure. But I think kindlife is different and same at the different and similar to ShopClues. We both the companies are in retail. We are bringing products online that are in demand by the consumer. At ShopClues, and I've already talked about the fact that we got 7.5 million retailers, traders online. We took a very different approach, which was supply first and consumer second. We got supply online. And that's a very similar approach that we are taking at kindlife because that worked really well for us at ShopClues. Here as well, we work with brands. We work with international brands that want to enter India. And we bring them into the country and we become brand builders for them. And so it is... that approach is very similar, that we are supply first. I'm not working in a fragmented market now. I think that was a great place to be, but that was also the time of the evolution of e-commerce in India. Right now, we are working with a more concentrated supply that we bring on board. But I think apart from that, the community that we were able to build is something that we are looking to build at kindlife as well. Community of people who are either our buyers or the brands that sell on our platform, and a community of people who look to us for what the new thing is.
Yes.
And it's just a slightly different demographic, but the concept is very, very similar.
You are also in a more aware, more crowded market.
Absolutely. I think, you have to give credit where it's due to social media. There's been democratization of knowledge and of opportunities. Creator economy is live and kicking. I have done more podcasts in the last 3 years than I did in the first 12 years of my career as an entrepreneur. And I think that more people have heard about my entrepreneurial journey than I had heard about it in the first 12 years. And if this is not democratization, what is?
Yes. But it also opens up competition. And the question then is, how does one differentiate in an environment like this?
So I think competition is always very healthy. Competition is great because it tells you gives you a sense of how large the opportunity is, how large, as our VC bros will say, the TAM is, the total addressable market. But for a true entrepreneur, you do need to have blinders on and you need to build. I understand that's impossible to build in a silo, but you cannot let competition dictate how you will build your business going forward. You learn from others' mistakes. You also learn from their victories, but your path has to be your own. And if you look at really successful businesses, that's where they have differentiated themselves. Their paths have been very singular. They've looked at what's happening around them, look at the competitive landscape, etc., etc. But they've stayed true to the path that they've set themselves out on. And again, it doesn't have to be a linear path. It can be curvy. It can go up, come down, all of that. But it is your own path. You cannot walk the path of somebody who's already done that. And you will see that, you will see that we've moved away, even in India, especially, we've moved away from the eBay of India idea or the Alibaba of India. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Because what works in India is very different. Quick commerce is a great example as well. The success of quick commerce in India cannot be replicated in any other part of the world. So for the early adopters in the business point of view who came in and said that I want to build out the DoorDash of India, I don't think they had any idea about how successful they would be. I mean, if you'd asked me 7 years ago or 6 years ago that something would come in, commerce mein kuch aayega, that's going to be larger than e-commerce, I would have said that. It's not possible.
And through this whole journey, what is the worst advice you must have received? I'm sure you got a lot of advice, but what was some of the advice you're really glad you didn't follow?
I think there was one time when somebody told me that don't make enemies, but I think maybe that's too harsh. It was about don't displease powerful people. But I think when you are on your own journey, things will happen and you will have to take a stand. And I think for me, being true to myself means not sitting on the fence all the time and taking a stand, which I am comfortable doing and which I'm comfortable with the ramifications of that as well. And I do think it would have been an easier path, but it was advice that was not right for a person like me. I would have been dissatisfied and unhappy under say. So didn't work for me.
But what you said is also important because in a very cute way, it translates into be nice.
Yeah, be nice. Don't
shake things up. Don't piss off people, and that gets you only so far.
Yeah, it doesn't. When you're building, it is difficult not to have a point of view.
Yeah,
and if you suffer from having a point of view, I feel like it's a
part
disease.
of the. Is this one of the challenges you see women entrepreneurs face all the time?
I do think that the urge to be nice, to keep peace. To be a peacekeeper all the time is there. And the minute they break out, I think it works.
It is my observation, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong, that while women are asked to be nice, if shit ever hits the roof, these are warriors who don't even recognize that they are battling it out. You don't see women chicken out when war is really at the door.
Absolutely.
Right. You've seen the same thing?
Absolutely. 100%.
So what is this entire fear about?
Yeah. 100% agree. 100% agree. I think what happens is that I'll tell you the context in which I was given that advice was that there are only 3 to 4 people who will, and this was in context of talking to VCs and investors, but there are only 3 to 4 people who will look at investing in you. And if they feel that you are too opinionated, or if you have too loud a voice, they might not come in. They might not want to come in and work with you because they don't want to see you as a loose cannon. Now, loose cannon, I understand. But being a simp, I don't.
Yes.
And you are absolutely right. When shit hits the fan, and as it does,
As it has to.
as in a startup all the time.
Yeah.
I see women dig their heels in and stick it out.
Yes.
And I see it
many
all the
don't
time.
even realize they're
Yes.
sticking it out.
Yeah.
They think, what else could I have done?
Yes.
They're saying, but you could have quit.
Yes, yes, yes. 100%. And I also feel that as a result, the flip side of that is that we take so many emotional decisions that I'll give you an example of somebody who worked for me who really stuck it out, very tough times, etc., etc. And we did appraisals the upcoming year, and her manager gave her an excellent, but just whatever the appraisal or whatever the promotion that she got. And I thought she deserved much more than that. But I took a step back and I wanted her to come and say that this is,
Ask
I
for
did
it.
way more for it and ask for it. She didn't. She got it because she deserved it.
Yeah.
And I brought her in to have that conversation with her. But we don't always ask for what belongs to us, because it goes back to the whole sense of feeling of inadequacy, right?
Yeah.
That if I didn't get it, if it's mine, it'll come to me.
Oh, how many times have I heard such smart women say that? And if life was so beautiful.
Yeah, it doesn't, because if people think that they can get you for cheap, they'll take you for cheap.
Absolutely. As they should. I mean, if you are in a competitive world, and if we are, these forces will work.
Yes.
And we have to be prepared for it. That is, and even what you said earlier about, don't shake the room, or there's just 2-3 people. That's a very different thing from be nice. See, what that advice, I would read it as, know when to shoot and when to. Wouldn't that be?
Yes and no. I think what typically lands up happening when somebody gives you that thing is that they want you to be as non-controversial as possible. It is that be a safe spot. Women are supposed to be safe. Yes, be safe, but please be yourself.
And please ask.
Please ask.
In this entire journey, we've spoken so much about what are the unique challenges that you faced, and maybe a lot of the women that you've observed face. Today, as we stand in a fairly more progressive, what we say, more inclusive society, what are the biases that still continue, that are as old as ever, but we see them maybe in a new shape or form? Like, I see a lot of things happening which are just better dressed.
I think completely it's the same. I was having this conversation with a very dear friend of mine who's very senior CXO level in the corporate world, and we were college roommates, and she's been my 5 a.m. call. When I'm on a 5 a.m. flight to Bangalore or work, she's the person I call and ask, what am I doing? Why am I not at home in bed? And she does the same as well. And we were talking about growing up in the early, or starting our careers in the early 2000s, where it felt that the world was ours to conquer. In fact, I feel that it was a lot better then. It was less regressive than it is becoming.
Yes.
I don't even know if it is better dressed, Naghma. Sometimes it's more blatant and in your face. Women's Day for me is a very exciting day because I see all the hurdles I have crossed and my peer group has crossed to be where we are. But when I talk to the younger cohort about Women's Day, it's not about the struggles that people have crossed to be able to celebrate Women's Day. It is about choices you've made. But please understand the fact that you have a choice is also new.
Because somebody had no choice and chose to fight about it.
Yes. So I hear a lot of these conversations about that it's all a choice. You can choose to be a working person and you can choose to be a maker. Absolutely you can. But those choices are also new.
And very hard earned.
Very hard earned.
Yes.
And I think that in the entire, hoo-ha of being anti-feminist or just, equality means something that it doesn't, we've lost sight of that. We've lost sight of the fact that choices exist because somebody fought.
Yes. And if there was one evil that you could pull out of this industry and throw it out and never see it again, what would that be?
What do you mean? Our industry is perfect. I have to stay here for a bit.
Oh
what
my
evil?
God.
There is no evil.
I'm so sorry.
You know that advice we talked about?
Yes. Shape no one.
Yeah. I think that I truly don't know if there's one evil that would be there. I do think that the industry is evolving in a much better way. I think that I would like to see a lot more of words in action. I hear a lot more of the words that don't translate into action. But just the fact that there are words means that there'll be action at some point. So long-term vision is there. Just not happening soon enough.
Yeah. And finally, there's something that I kept thinking about as you spoke, that a lot of this uncertainty in big rooms, uncertainty around money also comes because women have been trained very differently about power and what power looks like, that one must negotiate, one must be tippy-toeing around it, soft around, and that is what you have managed to break. And what I also heard from you is that you broke it simply by confronting it. And that is such an invaluable lesson that I'm taking away from our conversation, Radhika, because there's nothing more braver than seeing fear, identifying it, and then staring at it in the face. But it needs practice.
It needs a lot of practice, and it's easier said than done.
Yes.
And I do think that on power, one more thing, Naghma, that, all our lives, at least for me, I was brought up believing that power by osmosis is the real power for women. You are with a powerful man, and that gives you way more power than you will ever be able to have on your own.
Yes.
And we saw that in the powerful women figures of that time. Indira Gandhi, because she was somebody's daughter. Sheikh Hasina, because she was somebody's daughter or somebody's wife. Sonia Gandhi, because she was somebody's wife, etc. So it was power by osmosis. I don't think we've truly seen women, or we hadn't seen women stand on power by themselves for a very long time. And even today, I feel that I would like to see a lot more of those role models.
Yes.
Women who stood up and done it by themselves. I think that's what power would be. That would be a new face of power for me. And we're still not there. We're on our way, but we're getting major pushback right now.
Which means we're doing something right.
Yes. Yes.
On that beautiful, happy note, thank you for this beautiful conversation. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed it. And I know how much people are going to enjoy listening to it with so many pearls of wisdom. I hope you are thinking about writing a book or something of that sort.
At some point, yes.
Because there's too much in there that I don't think we can explore in an hour, but which needs to be recorded, because we have to have women like you leave lessons for those who are walking behind. That's the basic we have to do for the rest of them.
No, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed this. I've always enjoyed our conversations, but this was super special. You did touch on points that I have not talked about earlier, power being one of them for sure. And look forward to having it come out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.